Well, I've been kind of doing some thinking lately that this channel, I created it originally to show people how to do things to live off grid, geared more towards energy than, survival or anything like that. And to that end, I'm kind of thinking this channel's run its course. The things that are really important about living off grid when it comes to electrical requirements, I think I've pretty much covered everything that there is to cover. So that kind of brings us to a crossroads. Whenever I was thinking about that, well, my wife decided she wanted to start a YouTube channel that was off-grid living, which is just basically our lives living off-grid. And right down here you'll see the link that would take you to that channel. And it's not about how to do solar, it's about living solar and living off-grid, somewhat living off the land. So, you might find that interesting, but it's not a how-to channel. It's more of just our lives. You get to see actually what it's like to live our lives. Now, as far as this channel goes, what I want is your feedback to let me know what your thoughts are about the future of this channel, because I can do things that would still be how-to, but I could go off on other subjects, like these videos, for example. I make these videos using extremely cheap equipment. I do it on a dime, but as you can see, they're pretty high quality. The video quality is good from the cameras, and most of them I pay less than $20 for. The sound quality is always very good. The editing is good. I could do videos on that. I can do videos on house construction. Or if you only want me to do videos that are solar, I'd like to hear that. But if you've got an opinion one way or the other what should happen on this channel and you don't say it, it might not get what you're wanting. So I really value your feedback. I want to hear what you've got to say. There are a few projects coming up. I'm going to do Tom's system, and where we had installed his. Dwayne, we're doing an install on his system. He's going off grid. We'll do a little overview of his place. So there are still some things that we can do, but if I keep the channel the way it is, we're talking maybe 5 to a dozen videos a year. So if you don't mind, give me your feedback on that. Post that down below, and I would really appreciate it. Thanks. Well, this is one of those parts where I have to kind of eat a little bit of crow. When it got warm and we'd had that last big snow, I keep my batteries covered up in the winter time to help hold the heat in, and it helps them helps their amp hours a little bit better, because a cold battery just doesn't have as much juice. So these guys here, I covered them up. The spring came, it got real warm, and then we've had a few 85, 90 degree days around here, and forgot to uncover them. So this is one of the parts of my life here, or the channel, that I've got to either be honest with everybody or try to pretend that things are what they are not. And what's happened here is I have completely ruined these batteries. And don't have anybody to blame but me. And my hope in revealing this is that someone that has had the same thing happen to them, that's kind of feeling a little bit discouraged, a dude that's been in it for 30 years like me, still makes these kind of mistakes occasionally. Now, I'm not saying that there's a reason or an excuse for it. I can find up 100 different reasons why it happened the way it did, but not a single excuse. So I've got myself in a position now where I've got to replace these things. And being the scrounger that I am, I'm going to see what I can scrounge up and replace these guys. Okay, I found what I think is a pretty good deal on batteries. These are also AGM like I had, and I know that the reviews that I've given on AGM batteries before haven't been that good. But what I do really like about them is I don't have to water them, and you can keep them indoors because they're considered non-spillable, explosion-proof, blah, blah, blah. And if I ever get us another house built one day that's a little bigger than this, I am going to put the batteries inside so that they'll last longer in the wintertime during those cold nights. The batteries that I have are 8-volt batteries, 200 amp hours, and they're not quite as large as the ones that I have. The ones that I have are 415 amp hours. These are 200. So I'm having to get 2 sets and wire them in parallel to get 400 amp hours. And I got these for about half the price that I could have gotten them, actually less than half the price, about 1/3 of the price that they would be through regular channels. These, they're supposed to be topped off every 6 months, and it's been a year since these have been topped off. They're still new in the box, but they didn't get topped off within the 6-month time period they're supposed to be topped off. And so I'm going to go ahead and install these batteries. I'll unbox them here and we'll have a look at it. Okay, and on the side of the box here, you can see that it says it's model DTA 8200, 200 amp hour T11, quantity 1 in the box, and the weight and dimensions all in metric. Data manufactured August 6, 2012. Today is June, I think 12th, 2016. And then here inside the box, you can see that we have a battery strap to carry it with. And then of course a styrofoam packing piece. I'm just going to put it back there. And a nut and bolt. Actually a bolt and 2 washers, lock washer and flat washer. And then this is the battery. So I'm going to put these straps on first. So basically it looks like the same kind of construction as the batteries that I had, just of course smaller, half the size, half the power. And the thing is, I've got 8 6-volt cells or 8 6-volt batteries in the space of 2 feet by 4 feet by 2 feet tall. And I need to try to figure out how I'm going to get these to fit in that same space. And I might have to build a platform to set them stacked on top of each other or something. Now these bolts, I want to have a look at these bolts here. Okay, these bolts, you want the lock washer at the head, which is the split washer. And then you want the flat washer on the bottom towards the battery. And the reason is the cable that we wire up on this thing is going to go between the flat washer and the battery. And the reason for that is you get the maximum amount of surface contact. 8.2 volts. Okay, this battery here, it wouldn't be suitable for 12 volt systems because 12 is not evenly divisible by 8. But it'll work great for 24 volt systems. You'd wire 3 of these in series to get 24 volts, or 6 of them in series to get 48 volts. In my case, because I need 400 amp hours, I'm gonna wire a set of these in series of 6 to get 48 volts, and another set in series of 48 volts. And then I'm gonna wire those 2 sets in parallel to make the 400 amp hours at 48 volts. Well, I was getting ready to unhook my AGM batteries underneath the bench here, and I found a loose connection that went from the batteries to the inverter, and I'm not really sure how that happened, other than maybe the heating and cooling through the winter when those batteries would charge. But I mean, that connector was really loose, and I just can't think that I would have not tightened it. So I'm not really sure what happened. So I would suggest, if you're off grid and you got your own power generation, check your connections at least once or twice a year. Make sure everything's still tight. Now, the batteries are still not good, but now that I've got the connection tightened, I went through the night last night, and everything was okay. Now, when I put a load on it, it's not good, but I've decided at this point what I'm going to do is just go ahead and run this set of batteries into the ground. Just run them as long as they'll last, and then if they're still going by the time next winter comes around, I'll go ahead and replace them then. I'm going to hook up the new AGM batteries and get them topped off. Once they're topped off, then I'm going to slide them under my workbench for storage, and then put them in there at least by this coming winter. So we're probably going to leave it like this for a while and see how it goes.
That's it for this week's video. Thanks for watching, and don't forget to subscribe to my channel. See you next week, or next month, or whenever I get to it. I always answer questions, whether posted publicly or privately. See you then.